Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. This is Claricia Myers coming to you live. I am coming to you live from Richmond, Virginia. And I often forget to tell you where I'm coming live from. Even though I'm living now in Richmond, I am from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas in particular. And every morning, usually my husband and I, we come to you, but some mornings are good for him, some mornings are not so good. So it'll just be me this morning sharing a few nuggets with you. Be sure to tell me where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Sips. Glad that you can join me this morning. I can wave to you. And I've been talking about leadership for the past, it's about 2 weeks. Good morning, Michael. Do me a favor, share this out before I get started. And if you're popping in, I love for you to stop in, but don't leave without saying, telling me where you're tuning in from. I'd like to see how far, excuse me, the broadcast can reach, and I'd like to be able to engage with my audience. Good morning, Sips. Good morning to you. So, like I said, I've been talking about leadership, and there's some nuggets that I'm going to share with you this morning. I've read the book Think and Grow Rich, and that talked about leadership. That chapter in there was very interested in that. And I've been listening to Tony Robbins. He got his start with where I'm getting my start. And he talked about leadership as not being a position. Leadership is actually a skill of influence, to be able to influence someone else's, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their actions. That is really true leadership. It's not necessarily a position that you achieve. It's your being able to have the skill to influence someone else. Good morning, Joan. Again, tell me where you're tuning in from. Glad that you guys can join me this morning. And good morning to you, Robert. I can wave to you. And be sure to share this out. If you're even catching the replay, type hashtag replay, because I still love my replays, because you could do something else with your time instead of just listening to me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Good morning, Pete. So again, leadership is really, when you think about it, it's your ability to influence another human being in their thought patterns, their actions, their feelings, their emotions. But before you can do that, before you can think about influence anyone else, you must master yourself. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and people say you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or you're kind of grumpy and you feel like, it's Monday, I don't want to go to work, and I don't feel like doing this. And if you have a business that you're nurturing, you wake up, I don't feel like, you cannot do that. If you are in a slump, to be able to influence your own self, you have to be able to shift from the state of mind that you're in to another state when you are at your peak, because the brain of someone who is discouraged, someone who is, feeling overwhelmed, or they're tired, the brain patterns, their brain processes completely different to that of someone who is passionate, who's energetic, someone who's resolved, they're resolute, they're not going to let minor things discourage them. So that's the first place you need to start, with yourself. All right. Tony also says, let me go on. There's some others who came on here. Good morning, Moix. I think that's how you say your name. Again, tell me where you're tuning in from. Please don't leave without telling me where you're tuning in from, because I do love to greet everyone who joined and spend a little time with me. All right. So he says also, learning how to change your own state of mind. That is key in order to move forward in your life, in your business, in anything that you're attempting to do. And Tony, he gave the example of a person named Nell Fisher, sometime back in the 80s or 90s, who had learned about a ship. I believe it's the Spanish galleon that had, like, it was loaded with gold and all these riches. And he said that that person spent 27 years of his life searching for this ship. I believe it was a ship. Well, with all this gold. Number one, Tony said he had to overcome, or had to have 3 beliefs. Number one, believe that the ship did exist with all that gold. So he had to not only search for, like, think about somebody doing something for 5 years and not yielding any results. 5 years, you're doing this thing, 10 years, 15 years. You know, that takes effort, it takes time, it takes money. And if you're working with someone who's trying to do this thing and they're not getting any results, more than likely some people may have abandoned that idea. It's like, hey, you crazy, let him go and do his thing. Good morning, Freddie. Good morning. Glad that you can join me. And tell me where you're tuning in from. And George, good morning to you as well. So that was the first thing. He had to believe that the treasure did exist. 2, he had to believe that he will find it. And 3, he has to believe that all that effort was going to be worth it. That takes a lot of belief. And Tony said we should have that same attitude about whatever business that we're doing. Number one, to believe that there's treasure in our own business. 2, to believe that we will find the treasure. You know, talking about finding it, he says that owning a business is 80% psychology, your state of mind, you know, what you're doing, and 20% mechanics. Because, you know, we don't know everything. And that's why it's important to surround yourself with people who know more than you, because that's how you learn, because you can grow. And especially if you're deficient in a particular area, like maybe finances, you need to surround yourself with someone who is really good in that area. And the third belief that that you would need to have for your own business is to believe that the effort that you're putting into it is worth it. You know, and I equate that with your potential. We all have potential, and we owe it to ourselves to work to our fullest potential, not just sit back and, you know, you have this desire within you, but for whatever reason, maybe you doubt yourself that you can do it. You know, we need to believe in ourselves. We have belief in ourselves, belief in God. And if those ideas that you have that's inside of you, if I'm saying anything that's making sense to you, give me a heart or a like, so I know I'm speaking to someone who's hearing me. Good morning, Elder Charles. Glad that you can join me this morning. So yes, it's important to have those beliefs in ourselves, in whatever it is that you're doing, your business, that there's treasure in it, that you will find it, and that the effort that you're putting forth is worth it. You know, he also says that, let me see, that as a leader, because, you know, you lead your own life, you lead your family's life, but then, you know, when it comes to owning a business, you know, you have to have a vision that's huge enough, you know, larger than yourself, you know, and then let that passion that you have drive you to see it to fruition. And it may just take 1 year, it may take longer than that, but if that vision is large enough and you are passionate enough, you know, and dedicated enough, that you can see it through. Good morning, B. Good morning. Glad that you can join me this morning. It's just me this morning. Tell me where you're tuning in from. You know, I really do like to see you all. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Don't just pop in and just say, you know, I mean, I could see you, but I would love for you to say hi. He says, leadership is also having the capacity to have disappointments. You know, sometimes things don't necessarily go the way you want them to, but to be disappointed, to face disappointment, and then pick yourself up. You know, he talked about the 90-second rule. Yes, good morning. Good morning. I'm tuning in from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully that you all not having bad weather down there. I know that's there in the middle of the country, but So I'm just talking about leadership, and I was listening to Tony Robbins and just reflecting on some of the things that he said, and you know, yeah. So he also talked about where was I? I was talking about, yeah, being able to have the capacity to face disappointment and then to pick yourself up, and also, yes, it's hard to be jovial and excited every day. You know, sometimes you get stressed, but don't let that stress overwhelm you. He talked about the 90-second rule. So like you're upset, you know, disappointed about something, it takes 90 seconds. That's really a minute and a half to get your frustration out, and then you shift gears. And shifting gears, changing from that mindset of being overwhelmed and frustrated and tired to a mindset of you know, passion and drive and excitement. It's just like an athlete, how they exercise every day, they're strengthening a muscle. That is a muscle, that is a skill muscle that one must master. So before you can even think about influencing someone else, it's important to be able to influence yourself, your own actions. And then he says, everyone has the capacity to be a leader. You know, of course you can't lead in everything, but maybe there's some specific aspect of your life that you believe in that you can be a leader in. So, and one person's leadership, if you have a friend who's also a leader, that doesn't mean that you're going to deflect from them or take something away from them. We can all be leaders in our own right. And just keep in mind, though, how we respond to people, because our goal really should be to try to influence others. And so I'm just going to stop there because I'm still listening and reading, and so I'm going to share some more tomorrow. But, you know, if you have that burning desire to do more, to be more, and I didn't even address my spiritual entrepreneurs, I'm sorry about that, but I know within me, I do have that desire because, you know, God has placed it in me, so I can't just sit on it and just let it go. And the graveyard is filled with buried potential. I don't want to be one of those people whose potential is buried. You know, I owe it to myself. I owe it to my potential to be all that I can be, to be master of me, and hopefully on my journey, perfecting me or being able to manage and influence my own actions, I can help someone do the same. So somewhere in the description, I do have a link to the group that I'm working with that's helping me to achieve my goals. Now, I put it there for, you know, anyone to access, but the key to your destiny, and I think I wrote it down. I wrote it on the notes there, and I wrote it down here because I don't want to forget. Yeah, I said, you owe it to your potential to be all that you can be. Don't let your potential be join the others in the graveyard. You are the key to your destiny. If you don't like where you are, do something about it. Don't just sit and let the opportunities fade away. All right, so that's what I have for you this morning. I thank you for joining me. If anything that I have shared with you resonates with you, be sure to share this out, because even though the message may not have been for you, it could be for someone that you know who wants more out of life, who want to do more, who want to contribute more, who want to impact their world. And I thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, Friday, with another nugget or two. Enjoy your day and be blessed. Bye-bye.